The Committee on Parole is reconvening. It's 3 p.m. and our next location is Union Parish. The staff at Union Parish, please introduce yourself. You're muted. Officer, yeah, there you go. With the staff at Union Parish, please introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Officer Michael Kesey. Union Parish.
Thank you, Officer Casey. Will you be in the room with the offender?
Yes.
Okay, great. Would the offender please state his name and his DOC identification number?
Michael Burden, DOC number 615-618.
Thank you, Mr. Burden. My name is Alvin Roche, and to my left is Mrs. Bonnie Jackson, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. We'll verify that information, and then at the proper time, we'll give the officer a chance to make some comments.
All right.
After the comments, we will allow you to make a brief statement on your behalf. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Burden, you are a second felony offender. Your offenses are in St. Mary Parish, possession with the intent to distribute cocaine, St. Mary Parish, molestation of a juvenile, was sentenced in docket number 190287, which is the possession of with intent to distribute cocaine on September 9th, 2013, and you were revoked on October 10th, 2017. In docket number 196-460, the molestation of a juvenile, you were sentenced on June 19th, 2017. For the drug offense, you received a 8-year sentence. It was suspended and 4 years active supervised probation. You were revoked in October of 2017. And on the sex offense, you received 20 years at hard labor, suspended all but 10, and then you had a 5-year active supervised probation upon release. So your total sentence is 10 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date was July 14, 2020. You're not eligible for good time, and your full term date, July 14, 2025. Is this information correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you please answer Mrs. Jackson's question?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
you
Mr.
doing?
Burden. How old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
And in July, you would have served 8 years on this charge?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
You were revoked on the cocaine charge as a result of the molestation charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Help me and my fellow board members understand how it is you could be living with this woman purporting to be her significant other, and yet be having sexual intercourse with her teenage daughter. Explain to me how a person does that.
Ma'am, in my case, ma'am, it just was a mistake, a really mistake I really regret I made, ma'am.
No. Yeah, it's a mistake. I don't need you to tell me that. But what kind of person is living with this woman, living off of her, I suspect, and then having sex with her child? I mean, what kind of person in your mind does that?
An animal.
And you impregnated that child,
Yes, ma'am.
and she gave birth to a child a few months later.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the rest of her life, she's not going to be able to put this behind her because she has that baby as a constant reminder of what happened to her. So how do you feel about that?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for what I did. And if I could get a chance, I'll apologize to her. I'm really sorry for what I did.
That you have to apologize to her?
Hmm?
And why would why do you think apologizing to her would mean anything to her?
I just hope she forgive me for what I did.
Why? Why should she?
Mhm.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you taken sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am.
How many phases?
4.
When did you complete the 4th phase?
2022. I took it at in Minden.
Okay. Because I was only showing phase 1 and phase 2 ago. Programs, because like I said, I was only in your prison record, we're only showing that you've done phases 1 and 2.
And I did 1, 2, 3, and 4, ma'am. Mr. Johnson was my teacher.
I'm looking at your Department of Correction program in 2022.
Mhm.
You completed sex offender 1 and 2. And then you were in the Steve Hoyle substance abuse program.
Yes, ma'am.
But I don't, can anybody in the room? No, doubt it. I don't see that.
I got the certificate in my locker with 1, 2, 3, 4 on it, ma'am.
Okay, well, the record doesn't reflect that.
Mhm.
What about the Steve Hoyle substance abuse program?
I took the math class. I took that's the I took the drug one too. Mhm.
Let's go back to the sex offender treatment. What did you learn, and what was the biggest thing you learned in the sex offender treatment program?
I learned my zones, like the low zone, the high zone, and the moderate zone, so where I'm supposed to be and where I'm supposed to be at. And I learned justified and blame and deny and all that. And
And what'd you learn about that? Justifying, blaming, and denying. What you learn
that
about that?
I learned I won't have to I have to be responsible for my own actions and stop denying or blaming other people for my actions and take responsibility for my wrongdoing.
And had you been blaming and denying before?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Mhm.
And I'm sure there was a discussion of the impact of your crime on your victim.
Yes, ma'am.
You have opposition from the sentencing judge, the DA, the sheriff's office, the victim's mother. And she chose not to comment, but she indicated that, you know, she was requesting restitution for all the mental health expenses that she's had to incur. So obviously, this was a very traumatic experience for her. I'm sure it put a strain on her relationship with her mom. I mean, this was just a terrible thing to do, Ms. Burke. It's terrible. So I show that you did phase 1 of substance abuse treatment at Steve Hoyle.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your substance abuse issue?
Alcohol, and I used to drink a lot, and that was it.
And what you get out of the Steve Hoyle program?
I got a lot of things out of that. I have to be accountable for my actions, and other people feelings too. And I have this, you know, I have to be a better person. And
What did you learn about dealing with your drinking issue?
it's I have to stop drinking because, you know, I just have.
How? Okay. People don't just stop drinking. Sometimes just a rare person does, but you don't just stop drinking. So what did they teach you about how not to go back to alcohol?
I have to find another way to deal with my my depression and my drinking. I just got to stop, focus on something else than to drink. And I've been sober for 8 years since I've been here, and I'm not going back to that.
If I had $1 for everybody that said that and then turned around and went right back out there to the same things, you know, I'd hire a second time. When people say that and they mean it when they say it, but unless they have the tools and the determination to stay clean, you know, their intentions usually fall by the wayside. And my concern is whether or not you have tools to address your problems. How many write-ups have you had in the last 8.5, 9 years?
I can't hear you, man. What you said?
Write-ups have you had
None.
last 8 or 9 years?
None.
None?
None. And right now, I'm a trustee. I'm the head cook in the kitchen right now. I've been trustee.
Okay. Okay. And how long have you been a trustee?
Over here, I've been a trustee for like 3 months. Jonesboro, I've been a trustee for 2 years.
And you were a cook?
Yeah, I'm a cook right now. Yeah.
What were you in Jonesboro?
I was in Jonesboro from 19 to 20.
What was your job over there?
It was a head cook too. I was a head cook. I was a head cook. I was a GI, and I was a nighttime laundryman.
Okay. You have a GED?
No, ma'am.
High school diploma?
I quit in the 11th grade.
So why should we consider letting you out early? Your full-term date, a little over 2 years from now. Why should we let you out early?
Because I didn't change my life, and I'm more responsible for my own actions right now, and I learned that I have to be myself and stop doing other crazy stuff and to take care of my mother because she getting pretty old right now. So mm, mm, that's all, man.
So what would your transition plan be if you were to be successful? Where would you live? Where would you work?
I would live back with my mother, and I would go back to my job at the sugarcane plant. I've been there 22 years, and me and my boss, he'll hire me back because we was cool and take care of my mother.
And where is this?
This is Franklin, Louisiana.
And do you know,
Denver Parish.
do you know if the victim still lives in that area?
I ain't have no contact. I don't know where the victim at. Yeah. The only one I've been talking to is my mother and my older kids.
How many kids do you have?
I got three with the little one. I got a 126, I got 121, and I got 123.
Okay. And where are they?
They're around. They stay down the street from Shelton. It's a place called Shelton. They stay around in Shelton. It's about like 30 miles away from me, from my mama house.
Have you had any contact with them over the last 8 years?
Yes, they call me. They call me and talk to me. My oldest son, he moved to Kansas City, but the two girls, they still down here. They work at the casino and stuff.
They would visit you?
They visited me one time, and when I first came, I was in Faraday. They came visit me one time.
When was the last time you talked to this boss?
My boss, it's been a while. It's been a while since last time I talked to him. When I was in a parish jail. Still
Well,
good. Mhm.
Well, I mean, you know, the economy has changed, the world has changed, that job might not be available anymore. You might not need anybody anymore. So how are you gonna take care of yourself? You don't have any real job skills. I know you cook.
Mhm. I'm a forklift job operator, and I'm a welder too.
Then when did you get those skills?
I got those skills when I was in the world. Ben had them. You know, I learned them at my job.
All right, and there's no, the deputy's not in the room with you.
He's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Deputy.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
And what can you tell us about Mr. Burden?
Okay, Cam Banks, she gave me a presentation to say, Cam Banks says Michael Burton has not been any trouble since he's been here. He's a kitchen trustee, and she feels if he is granted parole, he will do the right thing.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have, Mr.
Mr. Freeman? Mr. Burden,
Yes, sir.
your criminal record starts at 207. Domestic abuse battery, and you pled guilty to simple battery. And you were given 90 days suspended and a 1-year supervision. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Why did it take you 3 years to complete that supervision and you completed it unsatisfactory?
I can't hear you. What you say, sir?
In 2007,
Mm-hmm.
you pled guilty to simple battery and you were arrested for domestic abuse battery.
Yes, sir.
You received a 90-day sentence
Mm-hmm.
and 1-year active probation.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take you 3 years to complete it and it was terminated unsatisfactory?
I don't know, sir. I don't. Mhm.
Then, when you committed this crime, molestation of a juvenile, you were on supervision for the drug charges and you were revoked.
Yes, sir.
So each and every time that you're on supervision, you had a negative result. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So why should I put your supervision in here?
Because I'm a changed man now, sir, and being in here for 8 years, it really, I'm not gonna do no more crime. No more.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Would you give us a closing statement?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, I just thank y'all for having this parole hearing for me, and that's all I have to say, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Burden. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, Mr. Burden, you know, this was a really terrible crime. It's had some really serious consequences for a lot of people. But you have had a fairly decent institutional record. You served 80% of the 10-year portion of the sentence. And I also take into consideration that when you get out, you're gonna still be on, not only, you'll be on probation because you have another 10 years hanging over your head. Being in prison for 8 years and knowing that you can come back for another 10 years isn't enough to keep you straight, then I guess there's nothing that will. But because it's a split sentence, you'll be out under supervision. And because you've had a good disciplinary record, my vote today would be to grant. But I'm just one vote.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Burden, I was gonna say pretty much exactly what Ms. Jackson said. I'm gonna vote to grant. You're to abide by all the conditions of the sex offender contract, have no contact whatsoever with victim, and show up immediately to probation and parole to get signed up and get a drug abuse evaluation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Burden, you have received 2 votes to grant your request. My vote is based on your parole supervision history. You've never had a successful supervision period. You've lived in St. Mary's Parish all of your life. And the person that knows you best is the judge. And very rarely we get a judge who sent a statement in, say that he is strongly opposed. The DA office is opposed. Law enforcement is opposed. For those reasons, my vote is to deny your request. Based upon you being a sex offender, based on you not having a GED, your request for early release has been denied. You have a good day.
All right. Thank you, sir.